So I had a video that I was going to make, but literally as I readied the camera and everything to make this one, I forgot what it was. So you're going to get this video instead. I'm going to talk about what I did today. Now today was kind of a weird day for me because I only got 3 hours of sleep last night, but I managed to soldier through at least to do enough to maintain my current knowledge as well as learn a few new things. So as you know, I take a pretty maximalist approach to learning Spanish. I spend the majority of my day, all of my days, on doing that. However, Jesus Christ, I feel like it's so bright in here. However, today is not going to be the case. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. When I haven't slept at night, I get this terrible like sensitivity to light, and I'm trying to just look at the camera in a straightforward way, but I can't because it's too bright in here. So I'm just going to blink like crazy for the rest of this video. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I remember now. So I take a pretty maximalist approach to learning Spanish. However, today I ended up doing just the light listening and reading as well as the Anki. So I did the Anki learning new words as well as reviewing the words that were in my to review part of the app. And that was good, but the passive listening without actively looking at the transcript and going through the words that I don't know, just kind of, just sitting there and kind of guessing at what they mean or just moving past them to get to the next part of whatever I was listening to, ended up working out pretty well for me. I didn't, on a day like today when I'm really fucking tired, it's good to get input and it's good to get practice in, but the quality of your input doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Like, you don't have to have the most amazing study session where you are maximalizing the amount of quality input that you're getting, of information that you're soaking in, etc. It's just as helpful to get in any kind of information whatsoever as long as you're soaking in the language and as long as you're immersing in the language. Because, if you're fluent in a language, for example, like how I am speaking in English right now, there are not days when you suddenly cease to speak it or comprehend it, right? You continue using it regardless. You have the same mindset about your target language. Doesn't matter if you're tired, doesn't matter if you're sick, it doesn't matter if you haven't slept the night before. The new day has come for you, and it is time to seize it as an opportunity. And so that's an important thing to remember. Now, of course, we have to be realistic. On a day when you've had almost no sleep, it's going to be a little bit harder to do, the parts of language learning that require more executive functioning, more focused things like this. But you can still learn. You can still do flashcards, at least for like 30 minutes, if not a little bit longer, hopefully. And then after that, you can do passive, listening, etc. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have enough vocabulary to really get anything out of listening, like you can't even understand 40 or 50% of what you're listening to, then yeah, you should just kind of suck it up and keep doing the Anki on a day where you're tired. But generally speaking, if you can comprehend some really basic stuff, just listen to some basic stuff and then go a little bit above your grade level and listen to some stuff that you can't totally get. You'll be fine. But moreover, try to look for something that interests you. I know it's harder when you're in those beginning phases, but if you're really in love with the language, you'll put up with content which isn't that interesting, and you'll just, enjoy the sounds and the feelings that the language elicits in you. So that was my day, and my day's not over. Hopefully it'll be over soon because I would really like to get to bed, but I wanted to share this video to illustrate something to those of you in the audience who might be having an off day. You cannot let your mood control you. This is very important to know. You cannot let how you're feeling in one moment control the course of your day, the outcome, the outcomes of your life. What is that? No, it's the outcome of your life. That's what I should say there. See, I'm forgetting English. Um, I guess maybe I could say the outcomes that you see over the course of your life. If I wanted it to be plural and still sound proper, I could say it like that. Man, I'm not trying to get into discourse about this. Oh, you want to know something crazy about Spanish that I really like? Spanish is full of these things that I really like. But if I'm talking about a speech, it's discurso. Discurso. The speech. El discurso. It's kind of funny how that works out, but in English, when we're talking about just a discussion or a conversation, we call it the discourse. Or I say I'm engaging in discourse or something like that. Um, or we're engaging in discourse. It's it's kind of interesting to do that. Um, or like the beginning, el principio, like like it's got to be that Latin influence, but I feel like it's just so much cooler. It's so much cooler, like even these basic things that you find in Spanish. And when I was just starting out, seeing those basic things being really cool and interesting and then making that connection in my head was part of what motivated me so much. And I still find things like that I already know to be motivating because simply spending time in the language feels good for me. And, you've got to have that attitude. And if you don't have it currently, you've got to develop it. And if you can't develop it with the language you're interested in right now, find one that you can develop it for. Just spend some time with several different languages until you find the one that really speaks to you, that you like. I didn't know it was going to be Spanish right away. I knew I always wanted to learn it. It was kind of a bucket list item for me, but I didn't know it could make me feel like this until I really let myself spend time with the language, sink my teeth into the language. And you'll find little things like that make you feel so good. See if there's anything else I gotta say here. No, I think that's probably it. It's like, yeah, man, don't let your moods control you. Keep at it. Be forgiving at the same time. Maybe you're not going to do the most maximalist, highest quality, greatest work of all time, but as long as you're working that day, as long as you're getting input, as long as you're remembering things or building up your passive vocabulary, you'll be fine. You just have to do it every day. That's really key here is spending the time and having the wherewithal to be consistent because, if you're just spending 15 minutes on Duolingo, even if you do that for, 4 years, you're probably not going to remember much of that, especially like if you're not doing it every day. The everyday part makes a major difference, but, even like 30 minutes, yeah, you'll probably remember some of that and be able to use it, but it's like you're not going to have that intuitive sense without doing extensive listening and reading. And if you're really, really tired, you can at least do listening, if not reading. You probably text people. I would imagine you text people when you're tired and read the things that they send to you. Why can't you do that with I don't know, Wikipedia or a storybook or something? You're still reading. There's nothing inherently different about it. It's just the attitude that you go in with it. So you also have to have the right attitude. I don't like being sleep deprived. I don't want to be sleep deprived, and hopefully that'll change for me with this coming night. But I'm really extremely sleepy, and I mean maybe you can tell I feel like I seem mildly schizo when I get this sleepy, even though I'm not going through anything like that. It's just the state of mind that you inevitably fall into when you haven't slept for so long. but I have a better feeling about tonight. You know, I'm going to lift those weights prior to sleeping and make sure that I get a good big meal in so that I don't wake up because I'm hungry or something. Um, because what happened this morning was I woke up early in the morning because the sun hit my eyes from the window and I couldn't get back to sleep. This always happens to me. I can never get back to sleep after being woken up. Never. It just doesn't happen, you know. It's awful. Right? It's a really, truly terrible thing. Um, and if there's any light whatsoever in my room, I will wake up. If it's light from, you know, synthetic, like a little, I don't know, like a power strip or something, that'll wake me up. So I have to cover up really any source of light when I go to bed. You know, when I first moved in here, the street lights from the window used to keep me up until I put like a thin layer over the window. But then my landlord told me, you know, you can't have that thick layer taped up, so I had to replace it with a thin one that I've got Velcro over the front, I can just pull it out. But it is thin, you know, that was the only thing my landlord would accept. And so some of the light still peers through, and not during nighttime, you know, the street lights, I don't see any of those, but with the morning coming in, uh, I get that light in my eyes, and, you know, I wake up right away. But the problem is I'll have trouble sleeping at night, which will lead me to sleep later than normal, and I I end up just waking up the next day not rested because I didn't sleep a full night because the light from the sun woke me up and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I didn't get a full night's sleep, but I had trouble sleeping the prior night. So, you know, there I am without enough hours, um, and that's difficult, right? You know, and I feel exhausted right now, but you'll feel exhausted and your body will not let you sleep. That's the weirdest thing, right? Um, you know, I used to take hydroxyzine for this problem when it would get really bad, but I don't like the idea of relying on medication. Some people call that Vistaril or Atarax, like you know what I'm talking about, if you've had to go through the medication thing. But they've put me on every single medication for sleep under the sun, and it's like I still have trouble sleeping. So um, hopefully that'll change over time. Maybe when I move to Latin America or to Spain, my sleep will just suddenly get fixed because I'll be in like a permanent summer or something. I don't even think this is a seasonal thing. I don't know where that theory came from, but we like to work with whatever we can. Man, can you imagine just like falling asleep on a beach in Uruguay? That would be wild. I gotta experience that sometime. I can't imagine. Yeah, I feel like it would be so beautiful. But yeah, keep it up. Keep it up with the languages. I'm helping one of my friends right now with their Dutch. I say helping. I'm mostly just providing tools and resources, but it's been really good to see her, do her whole thing, and I like seeing that. I think that's it. See, like again, I literally don't remember what I wanted to talk about in this video initially. Yeah, I don't remember, man. Man, this shit's so weird. I don't know if you. I'm still looking for friends, specifically to speak Spanish with. I'd really like to have a friend that I could speak Spanish with. I know a few now. I know a few native Spanish speakers that I've been able to talk to, which is good. But I would like to know more. Or, even if you're just pursuing it as a second language, I'd like to speak with you. Serbians I would really like to know so I can improve my Serbian. Although I don't think there are very many of those in my audience. I've only ever met one from this YouTube channel, but if there are more, out there, or even somebody from Croatia, we can kind of make it work. We can try our best, Um, but is that everything? I think that might be everything. I don't know. I'm on that grind set, and that's how it's got to be. Um, I've become open to the idea of getting into a relationship again, but I think it has to be with the right person. Um, it has to be something that feels right. And as of right now, I want to primarily focus on, the things in my life that uh, that are most meaningful to me, that I'm most passionate about. But that's something that I also kind of want to leave the door open on, because I'll do a video about this soon here in the future. Um, I've completely gotten over my ex now. Like it was pretty fast that I stopped caring. Um, I was able to look at the entire situation, I think, pretty reasonably, and understand where she was coming from and where I was coming from, and the societal ramifications of all this, like what this says about the world, and kind of trying to feel empathy for the world as well. And after I did that, it was very easy to get over. Had a healthy conversation with her about it, and so here I find myself pretty comfortable being alone, not in a relationship, which tells me that I shouldn't be against having one in the future, or even the near future, if such an opportunity were to, pose itself to me. But it's something that, yeah, it's something that I want to certainly explore again one day, but in a way where obviously everyone's boundaries are acknowledged. Like it's readily apparent for me that I need to spend most of my time on these languages, and if I could find someone else who is interested in that, or at least supportive of that, I feel like that would be really good for me. But I don't know where to find them. Maybe I'll find them in another country. When I make my way both to go to school later this year, as well as just to travel. These are all things that could become apparent to me, or make themselves known to me. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I can barely speak right now. Literally did not have sleep. So I'm going to do a little more studying. I'm going to try to get some more of these words down, and I'm going to try to watch a little TV. I think I'm just something light, like regular show in Spanish, the cartoon. Listen to my audiobook a little bit, and I'm going to go to bed. I'll go to the bed as I'm listening to the audiobook, because I need audio to sleep.